Hello, welcome to the Knit Shift episode 44. My name is Laura and today is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2016. If you're new here, welcome. This is a knitting podcast, and if you're coming back, thank you so much for choosing to spend a little bit of your day with me. I really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of knitting podcasts out there. There's never enough time to watch all of them, or even some of the ones we want to watch, so I really appreciate that you're hanging out with me today. I had said last week that I wouldn't record this week, but I really felt strongly that I wanted to record because I have some cool stuff to show you guys. Show notes for this episode can be found at thenitshift.com. This episode is available on iTunes, on YouTube. I'm on Ravelry as Yarnstormer, and I'm on Instagram as Laura Mahalski. And if you would like to join our Ravelry group, it is, if you just search for The Knit Shift, you will find us. So come on over. We do have a knit along going on right now for the Antarctic shawl by Janina Kaleo. It's a beautiful asymmetrical single shawl, uses a single skein of sock yarn. Just really lovely. It's the perfect pattern for that one. If you have a really special skein of sock yarn and you don't know what to do with it, this would be a great chance to use it and wear it, and it would just look so nice around your neck. It's a paid for pattern. I think it's about $6, $6.50, something like that. But we have a thread for chatter and we have a thread for finished objects. And I will draw one name out of the FO thread for to win a copy of a pattern from Janina, the designer. She very, very generously donated a copy of one of her patterns. So the winner will get to choose which of Janina's patterns you would like. And I will probably do at least one drawing from the chatter thread for a prize too. And I haven't totally settled on what prizes. I have like a stash of prizes for the podcast that I'd like to use. But I will have those. I'll show those in an episode or two down the road. The knit along continues until March 31st, so there's plenty of time. I knit mine in 2.5 weeks, and you can too. So please feel free to cast on still. You are not out of time. I'd love to see what you're making. And do check out the FO thread because there's some really beautiful shawls in there. I insist. So, yes, like I said, I had not planned to record this week because I'm going out of town in a few days. I'm going to the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Festival with my mom. We're each taking a class. We're taking different classes on Saturday morning, March 5th, and then we'll be wandering around the convention hall to do a little shopping. So if you see me and you know me, please say hi. I'd love to say hello and meet you. And if you would like to meet up, send me if you would like to really meet up and maybe hang out for a little bit, send me a PM on Ravelry and maybe we can try and meet up at a certain time Saturday. I probably won't be at the marketplace too long because we're going to see some family Saturday night, but I'll be around for a few hours and I'd love to take the time to meet you if you watch this. So just send me a PM. I'm Yarnstormer on Ravelry. So what do I have for you this week? I have a new finished object. Oh, before I forget, if you don't subscribe on YouTube, please subscribe. I'm really close to 500 subscribers, and I would love it if I could get there before my podcast anniversary, which is coming up in a few weeks. Anyway, I digress. I have a finished object for you. I have a new work in progress that you have not seen, but is more than halfway done, and I'm very excited about it. And I have some awesome yarn to show you guys, because there was both yarn purchasing on my part. I fell down and had an accident on Etsy. It happens to the best of us. And I had two surprises in the mail that I want to tell you guys about. So without further ado, oh, and I'm sorry, I keep skipping around, but if you want to play along with the Antarctic knit along, use the hashtag TKSKAL for the Knit Shift knit along. I'm sorry, I'm all over. I'm squeezing this in before I have lunch and go to work today, so I'm sorry if I'm a little tangential here and there. So let's get to it. I have one finished object to show you, and they are my hedgehog socks. I am so pleased with these. These are for me. These are not a gift. I knit this out of Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock and Monarch, and That's an 80/20 merino nylon blend. It's 437 yards, and I used about 75% of it. I have this much left, and I have mailed off. I believe I used part of this for a mini skein. Let's see if I can get it to focus. I used part of it for a mini skein, and I think I might have already put a square of this in my sock yarn blanket. So you can see that the base is kind of a really pale creamsicle, yellowy, orangey, peachy, and there are flecks of rust and black and hot pink and gray. I feel like every time I look at this, I see a new color in the socks. I love these so much. I knit these toe up 2 at a time. Was it 2 at a time? Yes, it was 2 at a time. I just finished these a week ago. I should remember. I did my standard recipe, which is a toe up sock. I cast on about 32 stitches. I increased to about 68. And then because this yarn is so precious and beautiful, I decided to do a gusset and heel flap because those fit my foot just a little better, and I think they wear better for me. So I did a slip stitch heel, which you can see here, and then picked back up, kept going up the leg, and ended with 2x2 ribbing. These have been washed, and I don't really block my socks, but I just put them on this to show you guys. They're easier to show this way. So I'm so thrilled with these. I used a size 0 needle, which is a 2mm, and I used my trusty Chigoos, which are, I'd show you the needle, but they're already on the needle for the next thing I'm about to show you. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with these. I think I might bring these to Pittsburgh this weekend, and they will get their inaugural wearing there. So love these. I really think Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock is the way to go for me for socks. And I know that the Hedgehog just plain sock is, I think, their original base, and it's really soft, but I just a word of warning, if you are hard on your socks at all, like just in the slightest bit, I really have a feeling that yarn will felt. I have 2 skeins of Hedgehog sock in my stash, and I plan on using them for a shawl because I'm just really hesitant to put just the plain sock on my feet. So anyway, so yes, Hedgehog, these are my second pair of the year. So far I have knit a pair a month. And I did not mean to make this segue, but with the next thing I'm about to show you, I'm on my way to a third pair in a month. I did not have a sock knitting goal for 2016. I had a goal of knitting for others, like knitting for people I haven't necessarily knit for before. And I knit a hat for a new baby. I knit a pair of socks for my grandma, who already has a pair of socks for me, but you know, she's very worthy, and I would love to knit her all of the socks if I had the time. And I am currently knitting, sorry, I'm unwinding this Hedgehog, my leftover scraps. Oh, and did I mention the colorway? This colorway is called Monarch. I'm sorry if I forgot that. But I really, really love this. I got this at my local yarn shop, the Yarn Club in Virginia Beach. It's a great shop. So my next thing that I have to show you is my next pair of socks on the needles. If you watched last week, if you watched the past 2 weeks, I mentioned 2 weeks ago that I really wanted to knit a cowl for a friend who is moving away. And last week I showed you said cowl, which was all of this big, and it occurred to me that it's basically like knitting a scarf on tiny needles, and I would rather stab myself in the eye with the needle than continue that project. Just a little bombastic, just a little exaggeration. So on the spot, I decided that socks would be a better gift for her because I know her shoe size and she has tiny feet, and I know how to knit socks basically in my sleep. So I went to my stash and I picked out a skein of yarn, and I picked this Malabrigo sock in the colorway Arco Iris, which is greens and yellows and a little bit of blue and purple. I wish this would focus. There we go. So you can see it's just really lovely springtime colors, purple and green, kind of a sage green and a dusty blue and a gold, kind of a golden, not even goldenrod, just a lovely gold yellow. So this is a very special skein of yarn, as it turns out, because it wasn't until I was knitting the sock that I remembered, oh yeah, this is the one skein of yarn in my stash that my boyfriend picked out for me. He has gotten me gift cards in the past to local yarn shops, or I have sent him directly a link to Etsy and said, I would like this exact skein of yarn for Christmas, please. Which is fine. I'm happy to tell him exactly what I like. But this was special because he went to a yarn shop in Vermont and picked it out for me all on his own. And, so it was special. And then I was like, oh, I feel a little bit bad that I'm not knitting this for myself, even though Josh picked it out for me. And then I put that aside, and we were texting because he was at work and I was at home. And I explained that I was choosing the yarn that he picked out for me to knit for this friend. And I said, clearly the only solution is you have to go back to a yarn shop and pick out more yarn for me. Which, I mean, could it be a better solution? I don't think so. I'm always thinking. So without further ado, I cast on this sock on Saturday, and that is like 5 days ago, and I have a sock already. I can't even believe it. I mean, it is an anklet, so it's not like it's that surprising that I finished it in that amount of time. But I am just very pleased with how quickly it knit up. And it's good to know that when I have a fire lit under me, because I need to finish these by like March 15th, that I can get them done. So she has a size 6.5 foot, and this looks awfully big to me. I'm afraid I made it a little too long. Like, I did a fish lips kiss heel, and I'm afraid I just kept knitting up the foot a little too long. But oh well, they can be baggy, around the house socks. So I knit these toe up, my traditional cast on of 32 stitches. I'm really pleased with how the fabric's knitting up. You can see it really didn't pull at all. It's just this lovely, let me see if the camera will cooperate. There we go. It's this lovely green, blue, purple. I just really love how it's knitting up. And Malabrigo sock is so soft, and this color is a bit more accurate than what I just had. The others were a little blown out, but I really think this is beautiful, and I think she will really like the sock. So I just did a little fish lips kiss heel, and I knit 20 rounds above the heel, because when you do the fish lips kiss heel, you're supposed to, on the back of the leg, you're supposed to continue knitting stockinette for about an inch, otherwise the heel will kind of pull. So I knit about 20 rounds of stockinette, and then I did a nice 2x2 ribbing, and as you can see, I have not woven in the ends or anything. So I'm really pleased with these. I used a size 0, which is a 2mm, and I have already cast on the second sock. I'm wasting no time. My goal was to finish the first sock before I left for Pittsburgh on Friday, which I did. And now my goal is to have part of the foot done before I leave Friday, and it'd be awesome if I finished the sock before I got back home on Sunday night, but I am driving alone, so it's not like I have time to knit in the car on the 7-hour drive. Alas, if only I could have one of those self-driving Google cars, and then I could knit the whole way. Alas, I'm not independently wealthy, so there you have it. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I'm really excited about the sock. I have one more increase to do before I am knitting the foot. So I'm not worried about yarn. This took about 25 grams, so a quarter of the skein of yarn. So I will have plenty of this left over for minis and a square in my blanket and so on. So that is the only work in progress. I did knit on my sock yarn blanket on Sunday. I'm trying to reserve Sundays for some blanket knitting, but because this project is on a deadline, I knit a square too, because I've had so many swaps lately that I've been eager to put some squares in the blanket, but I just knit a couple and kind of took the edge off of blanket knitting, so to say. So and then I got back to this sock for my friend. So, and I'm not saying her name. I don't think she watches this. She works with me. So if she's watching this, she totally knows these are for her because she's the only person leaving. But yeah, I don't know how many. I've been more. This is a tangent, I know, but I've been more open about having a knitting podcast with friends and family and even my coworkers. I'm a journalist and I work at a large news organization, and I finally put my podcast in my Twitter bio, in my professional Twitter bio, because I feel like there's not a lot of journalists out there who are knitters, and there are probably even fewer who have podcasts. I might be the only one. I don't know. But anyway, so I've been more open about my knitting podcast, but unless my coworkers knit, I don't know why they would watch this. They're welcome to, but it would just be probably not the most interesting to them. Anyway, so I'm keeping this coworker sock in a bag that my friend Lennis made me. So that is it for works in progress. I won't show you my blanket today, but I do have a couple more things to show you. So I mentioned that I had an Etsy accident not even a week ago. Gosh, it was like Friday. The yarn got here really quickly. So I was surfing Kemper's blog. She runs junk yarn. She has a podcast. She just started dyeing yarn. I was looking at her blog the other day, and she had a post a couple weeks back about like color inspiration and beautiful yarn. And I like to look at pretty yarn, so I clicked on the entry. And there was this beautiful yarn from a shop called Drusy Rising, and I don't think I can pull it up on my phone. And it was called Ferris Wheel, and it was like yellows and pinks and greens, and it was speckled, and just the photography, the photo that the dyer took of the yarn was really top-notch, which I think is a huge help as a shopper. You know, it's very easy to be tempted by a really beautiful photo of yarn, and I totally fell for it hook, line, and sinker. So while I did not get the colorway that Kemper had blogged about, I picked up another color of yarn, on another skein of yarn on the website. So this is from Drusy Rising, and I will link to them in the show notes. I don't know the URL off the top of my head, but it is an Etsy shop. And this is, let me find it here. This is her solid sock base, and it's the colorway Fortune. And you can see it's blues and purples, and there's even some like red rusty bits here. Hi, Gracie. Hello. Yes, thank you for coming over to say hello. Sorry, guys. I was out running errands this morning, and I came home and I sat down to record this and didn't pay any attention to the dog. So of course she's like all up in my business. Hi, Stinky. Who's a good girl? Yes, thank you. This is wonderful. Oh yes, this is nothing better. And I've thought about putting Gracie in the other room while I record the podcast, but then she would cry, and then you would hear her crying while I'm recording. So, okay, Grace. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry. So here is Fortune. There are green bits and red bits. Gracie, okay, you gotta get down. There are green bits and red bits, but overall it's this really lovely navy cerulean. It's kind of a dusty, I'd say dusty blue. It's kind of a dusty navy, but anyway, I just think this is so pretty and so gorgeous, and I had to have it. I really love blues and purples and greens. I'm a sucker for them, so yes, love this gorgeous yarn. Really soft. It's I think I said it's a 75-25 merino nylon superwash, and it's 460 yards, so it is probably kind of on the thin side, but I think it would make a beautiful shawl or a beautiful pair of socks. So I cannot wait to knit this up. So I knew this yarn was going to arrive on Monday, on leap year day. So on Saturday, I checked the mail, and there is a little package. And my friend Casey, who is one of my buddies that I go to Maryland Sheep and Wool with in the past, and we went to SAF last year together. She lives in Tennessee, and she had mailed me some stitch markers she bought on Etsy. She saw them and thought I would like them. And I love their little unicorns. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in here, and there's 3 unicorns and 2 jewel beads. I hope this will, there we go, now it's focused. I love unicorns, and Casey didn't even know that I love unicorns, which I'll explain in a minute. But these are from Slipped Stitch Studios, and the website I believe is slippedstitchstudios.com, and they have an Etsy shop, which I will link to in the show notes. I don't have the card with, oh wait, yes I do, just kidding. Oh, maybe they don't have an Etsy shop, but here is their card. And it has this wonderful pin on the corner that says, Born to Knit forced to work, which honestly could be my life. That's my life struggle, you guys. Isn't it the struggle for all of us? If only I could knit all day. But Gracie's not going to pay the bills. I wish this would focus. There we go. Pardon my dry claw hands. I hate winter. So I love this pin. I'm going to wear it on Saturday to the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Festival. And I just realized this, the back of this card has a little, you can use it to keep track of what needles you have. How nice is that? So anyway, I love unicorns. They're kind of one of my favorite things. My dad's mom, my grandma, really liked unicorns, and she passed away when I was about a year old, and I kind of collected, I guess I kind of inherited unofficially her unicorn collection, and she had all sorts of statues, and she had some books about unicorns, and they were kind of like those massive coffee table books that were, they reminded me of National Geographic photos, yet they were unicorns, and in hindsight, as an adult, they were made in the 70s, but they looked real to me as a child. But obviously Photoshop wasn't around in the 1970s, so I think as a child I thought they were real. But of course, now that I'm an adult, I realize they probably had some kind of like party hat unicorn horn and like put it around the horse's neck and, somehow managed to probably kind of make a photo/painting. I don't know. Anyway, I love those books. I don't even know where they are. They're probably at my parents' house somewhere because I don't have the unicorn books here. But I did bring over my statue that sits on my bookshelf, and it's a little dusty. Sorry, I should have dusted before bringing it over, but real life. But it's a nice little music box of a mom unicorn and a baby unicorn, and it spins. And I love that it still works all these years later. Now it's going to be playing because I can't really turn it off. So it'll just play in the background for a minute or two. So Casey didn't even know that I love unicorns, but I love these so much and I cannot wait to use them. So as if that wasn't lovely enough, thank you, Casey. On Monday the 29th, I was eagerly awaiting the arrival of my Etsy purchase where and honestly, I saw it and I just bought it so fast. I was like, what just happened? I don't even know. So that's why I'm calling it my accidental Etsy purchase. So I checked my mailbox the day I'm expecting the Drusy Rising delivery, and there are 2 packages shoved in my mailbox. And I look at the other one, I see one's from Drusy, and I look at the other and I'm like, I'm not expecting anything. My birthday was 2 weeks ago, and it's also from my friend Casey. And I feel it, and I'm like squeezing it, and it's squishy. And I was like, oh, bleep. I won't say what I really said because you guys might not appreciate it if you don't swear like I do. But I knew it was yarn. And I immediately thought, oh God, Casey spins yarn. What if this is Handspun? Oh my God. And I run up the stairs to my apartment and I'm freaking out because I love yarn. I love yarn delivery that I know is coming. But to get a surprise delivery of yarn is the next level. And for it to be Handspun, that's like winning the darn lottery. And don't you know, Casey spun this yarn for me. Can you believe how gorgeous this is, you guys? I'm still freaking out about it. She used a bunch of scraps, and she knows I love rainbows and unicorns. I'm basically a 10-year-old girl still. And she used scraps to make this for me, and I could not love it so anymore. It's 330 yards. I believe it's fingering weight. It looks like fingering weight to me, maybe sport. And there's not enough time in the world to list all the colors in this. How stinking beautiful is this? And it's squishy, and it's plump, and she suggested I knit socks or mittens out of it, and it feels soft to me. I think I could wear it around my neck. But this yarn is the most beautiful hand spun I've ever seen in my life. And I have no idea what to do with it. Like, I'm kind of afraid to knit with it because it's so beautiful, and I'm afraid I won't do it justice. But I've had it next to me. This is kind of, obviously this is where I podcast from every week. This is my knitting chair. I've had it next to me, and I can't stop looking at it. Like, I'm obsessed. There are just so many beautiful colors. I mean, I could knit like a boneyard shawl out of it, I suppose, so that it's something to wear around my neck, but I really love the idea of having rainbow handspun socks, and I wouldn't wear them out and about because, you know, I think they would just be house socks to wear with slippers around the house. It's not superwash. Some of it's superwash, Casey said, but other parts are not. But I was just bowled over when I opened this. It was like the best mail day ever. Also, that day I got a check for some freelance editing I had been doing, and I knew it was coming at some point, but to have a nice check and 2 skeins of yarn, one of which was a surprise, I mean, mail does not get any better than that. So I was bowled over. Casey, thank you so much. I'm so lucky. And I cannot wait to find a project to do this justice. I really don't know what I'm going to knit. And if you guys have any suggestions, tell me. It's 330 yards. Would it be weird to like sleep with this like a stuffed animal, like a lovey? I don't know. I just love it so much. Oh, Casey, you're the best. And she also, if I can brag on Casey, I'm like Casey's mom. I'm bragging about how wonderful she is, but it's true. She also spun yarn for 2 other friends and mailed it all to us. And the 3 recipients of the yarn, we all live in the same area. And Casey mailed us yarn, and we all got it on the same day. And it was just so generous and thoughtful. So Casey, thank you so much. I'm bowled over. I really am. So. I can't even like bring myself to put this in my stash. Like, I just want it near me, next to my knitting chair at all times. So, I love it so much. In case I wasn't clear about that yet, in the previous 20 times I've said that. So, those are my yarns this week. I'm thrilled with them. I love them. I might even bring this Handspun to Pittsburgh to show my mom. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to this weekend because it's only a 3-day work week. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but yesterday was Super Tuesday. It was a really busy night at work, and even though I am not working Friday and Saturday, I still have a lot to do before I leave. I need to front load my week a bit because I won't be around Friday or Saturday, so it means my 3 days that I'm working are going to be busy and long, but you know, that's life. So I'm really going to be ready to hit the road Friday morning and come to Pittsburgh and have a little time with my grandma, have some time with my parents. It's just me going. My boyfriend isn't going. My brother and sister-in-law aren't coming to town, and I'm really excited to have another knitting adventure with my mom. So I can't wait. So on that note, I think I'm going to end this here, but thank you for watching. I've had a great time chatting with you today, and I will see you next week. Bye!